Hey, just finished the first service, and what a great service. Wow. I just want to recap some of what we talked about. I opened the service. If you were here, you remember the old fishing story from when I was a kid, and how my cousin, well, actually, I found it first, but found this rod in an old reservoir that had been drained, and was all excited about it. And then my cousin kept saying, this thing's a piece of junk. It's all nasty. And so after a while, I thought, it's not as attractive as it was when I first found it. I ended up throwing it away, and he went and grabbed it and said, I got it now. And I just talked about how we have exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and how Satan has fooled us into believing that what we had and what we have in truth is not that valuable. And that's Genesis chapter 2, verse 15 through Genesis 3, verse 7 talks about that big lie in the very beginning that Adam and Eve exchanged the truth for. And so this morning we talked about lying, and how when we were young, how our parents they hammered into us more than anything, just tell the truth, and it's going to be okay. And how the truth, though, the problem with it is that it doesn't serve our purpose. And we lie because we want to stay out of trouble. We lie because we want to save our reputation, or we avoid hurting someone's feelings, or we increase our reputation by exaggerating, or we lie to manipulate, or and we even control information. It's kind of indirect lying. Instead of just formulating a lie, we hold on to and we sit tightly to the truth, and we don't tell the whole story, the whole truth. And so here's the definition of a lie. A lie is a false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive. And we looked at what Adolf Hitler had to say about lies, and we know he was good at it. Not a good person, but good at lying. And we talked about how culturally, how lying is just something that's accepted. We are surrounded with people who have just lied in huge ways and have been caught, and there's been no consequences. And so we see that. We take that in every day, and it affects us because we start to think, what? If I lie, nothing really bad is going to happen to me. But I talked about the different reasons why lying is wrong, and I will just recap those and let you guys talk about them in your small group. But before I do, let me read John chapter 8, verse 44 through 47. I think this would be a great verse for you guys to talk about as well. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning and not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Yet because I tell you the truth, you don't believe me. Can any of you prove me guilty of sin? If I'm telling the truth, why don't you believe me? He who belongs to God hears what God says, and the reason you don't hear is that you don't belong to God. And so we take some time and talk about that in your group. But here are the reasons why lying is a problem. Here's what's wrong with little white lies, or just lies in general. Is first of all, we identify ourselves with the father of lies. We're not identifying with God. We're speaking Satan's language. Number two, it erodes the basic building block of relationships, which is trust. If you lie, people will not trust you. You don't trust people who lie, and so it erodes that basic building block of relationships, which tears apart the fabric of our society. And number three is it creates cracks in our character. It reinforces all those dark places in our lives. We hide things. And then number four, because our kids are watching. If you have kids, or maybe your nieces or nephews, or maybe your neighbors, but children are watching. Children are learning. More is caught than what's taught. And for us to say, don't do this, but then for them to see us sends a very mixed message. And then number five, we talked about, because the Bible says liars are going to end up in hell. I mean, if all those others weren't a good reason, that's a great reason. And so take some time. I know this is a hot topic. One of the things I want you to avoid is all the gray area. We talk about lying, we get like, well, what if this and what if that, and all these hypothetical situations. But let's talk about reality and where we're living, and And so have a great life point. God bless.